Welcome to Counterpoint. I'm Tanya Granick Allen. With the housing market heating up year over year, many homeowners are excited for the increase in valuation to their properties. But what if you're trying to get into the market and not cash out? With the average Canadian home above $816,000, the likelihood of owning a home seems more out of reach than ever before. But why does it have to be this way? Can't builders just build more homes? Well, enter zoning regulations and local standards. These regulations can be so stringent that many builders and property owners simply throw up their hands in frustration. Why even bother if the local government just makes it so difficult? Well, recently, the Ontario government charged the Ontario Housing Affordability Task Force, created to address the housing crisis, to devise solutions. The result? Ontario needs 1.5 million homes in the next 10 years. And how should we get there? By tackling municipalities who act as the gatekeepers. Later in the program, I will be joined by Paul Populo, founder of an Ontario-based land development firm, Polo Corp Inc. But now I'd like to introduce Peter Sean Taylor, senior features editor at C2C Journal, and David Clement, North American Affairs Manager for the Consumer Choice Center and a regular contributor here on Counterpoint. Welcome, both of you. Thank you so much for joining me. So I think I'm going to start with you, David, because you and I have had some banter about housing before. So just how big is the housing crisis in Canada?
It's hard to explain, but the numbers will do some justice. So average home prices in January across the country rose 20% from 2021. So in British Columbia, you're looking at over $1 million. In Ontario, you're looking at close to $1 million. We're seeing a very rapid increase in the price to buy a home, and that's also impacting renters across the country, where in major metropolitan cities like Toronto or Vancouver, you need about $130,000 in income to be able to reasonably afford a two-bedroom apartment. But the problem is that in those major cities, the average family income across all families is around $60,000 to $70,000, and so there's a huge gap. It's getting worse, and there couldn't be a better time for us to focus on building more homes and to target zoning reform.
Right, and I should apologize because in my opener I didn't even address the renting crisis. But you're right, as the cost of homes go up, so too does the rent. And when we have low supply, it can just all exacerbate the situation. So I guess, Peter, does Canada have a chronic undersupply issue?
Oh, certainly. You look at comparisons of OECD countries. Canada is, I think, among the G7, it's the lowest in terms of how many houses per capita. And across Canada as well, there's quite a diversity in how many houses provinces are building. Ontario is one of the poorest sort of housed provinces in terms of how many houses they're building for how many people are coming in. So certainly certain provinces where the where the house prices are going up the fastest are the ones that do the worst job of building more houses, and on an international basis, Canada appears to be underhoused. Certainly our supply isn't keeping track with the way other countries are managing it.
And for you, David, I mean, you're a millennial. You're, I think, trying to crack into the market. How would an increase in supply impact you?
So an increase in supply would create what a lot of housing critics talk about, which is the missing middle. So if I think to even my sister's generation, who's about 10 years older than me, it was very feasible to have a starter home, live in that until you have children, and kind of move up the housing ladder along the way. Because of the way in which we have really fed the housing crisis and the undersupply issue, more often than not, you have very, very small condos available to those maybe first entering the market. You have almost nothing in the middle, so nothing you would raise a young family in. And then you have very, very expensive freehold single family homes that are, I mean, if you look in the GTA, we're looking 1.3, 1.6, 1.8 million dollars, which are virtually impossible to save
Okay.
for unless you have generational wealth.
I'm going to pause you there. We're going to cut to commercial. We'll be right back.